Hey devs, today I'm going to show you how to generate QR codes in a React Native application. So for that we are going to use this library called react-native-qrcode-svg. I will leave the URL of this documentation in the description, and I will also leave this URL in the description. This is a QR code reader, so we can upload our QR code and have the result here of what it has, of its content. So we have here a React Native application, just a project from scratch with the hello world text in the middle of the screen. So let's start. First of all, of course, we go to the documentation, and here we have a few examples of how our QR code can look like. And below we have the installation process. So let's copy this command, add react-native-svg and react-native-qrcode-svg. We have to install these two tools. Let's do it. And then it says below that, it says that if we are using a React Native version about this one specified here, we have to run a pod install for the iOS side. So let's do that. Here we have two alternatives. We can run npx pod install, or we can go to the iOS folder and run here pod install. So you can choose the one you want. I always use the first option, so I will run npx pod install. And let's wait a few seconds until this process finishes. Let's read in the meantime the example we have here. So we just have to import the QR code and start using it with the value specified within a string here. So that's super simple. So once we have installed the both things, we can run the app again to make sure that we don't have any conflicts with the new library. So let's leave the app building and let's copy the example. So we can import the QR code and place the component in the return statement. Let me add here some margin volume 50. So once this finishes building, I can save this file and it will show the QR code below the text. So let's wait a few seconds. All right, it should be launching. There we go. So now I save, and there we have the QR code. So this is the most basic example we can have for QR codes. You can see that we can take a screenshot of the QR code, for example. Let's save it like QR example. And let's go to the QR code reader and upload the QR code example. And here we can see the result, the link we have here in the value property. So let's change it, for example, to QR code testing with React Native and save. You will see that the QR code will change. There we go. So let's take another screenshot. Testing QR code. Let's go back here and upload this new QR code, and you see that the text changes, and it's according to what we introduced in value. So here we have the most basic example of its implementation, and we can say that we have successfully installed and generated a QR code, but we have a few of extra configurations that we can set up and that are specified in this documentation. So here in the props section, you can see all the props we can set up for this component. So let's go with a few basic ones. For example, the size. The default one is 100, so we can, for example, set 200 and it's bigger. We can also set up the background color, for example, to orange, and we can see that the QR code changed to orange, not the QR code, the background, sorry. but we can also change the color of the QR code. For example, purple. And there we go, we have a purple QR code. So let's see if this QR code with colors is scanned properly. Sorry, I have to save that. Save purple QR code. Let's go back to the reader. Oh, sorry. Let me change the text here, because if not, we won't see the difference here. So, but purple. Now the QR code changes, and we can save it. So QR code purple. All right, upload and QR code purple. There we go, but purple, that's what we put in the value. So these are a few basic ones. For example, we can also set up a logo in the middle of the QR code. So let me make use of this one I got here, just a pet, a dog paw. So copy relative path and import logo from the, sorry. There we go. So the logo would be the logo. Let's save. And there we have the little logo in the middle. We can also increase the size of that logo size, for example. Let me check. Oh, the default is the 20% of the QR code size. So if it's 100, it will be 20. So it will give me an error because of this, but let's increase the size of the logo, for example, to 50. Let's see. That's too small. 90 maybe. That's figure 100. So there we go. We have a paw there in the middle. So we can check if this works. QR code for pets, for example. We save. The QR code also changed. As you see, every time you change the text here, the QR code changes. And let me take another screenshot. Pets QR code. All right. Let's go back here and upload that pets QR code. And there we have the QR code for pets. So we have successfully set up this QR code library with a few simple examples. We have played with a few of their props. So for example, we can add also logo background color and set it to gray, for example, and it will add a gray square background color. But like I said, I will leave the URL in the description so you can go to the documentation and play with the props that this library has. So that's all from my side. I hope you liked the video and you liked the explanation. And if that's the case, give it a like. If you have any doubts, leave them in the comments below. But that's all from my side. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.